the chromatic parts, chromatic is kind of chromatics are kind of more of a jazzy kind of thing. So this little da, 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 it's such a weird sound for me because my background is pop sensibility, and this is one of the things I like about Fried Goat is Fried Goat starts or takes songs into places I wouldn't even think of. So when I hear stuff like that, my ears, sometimes I'm questioning, but usually every time when we finish a Fried Goat song, it makes sense in my brain afterwards. But it's the beginning of the song sometimes I just don't get. But and this is one of the ones that it just sounded very odd to me, but I really totally dig it.
Ever since I've been going to China really has made a part of me, right? It's like, I've learned a different culture, and because it's so different, it really makes me think differently. And so when I heard this song, I thought, man, I think Deep was thinking about me and how China has made me into somebody different. I have no idea what the song's about. That's, to me, the way I interpreted that song when I heard it. And so I really love this song, not just because of that, but also because it's like one of the most different songs that we've ever had. I mean, that little, that whole riff is just like, I don't know, it doesn't remind me of anything that Fried Goat's ever done before.
Somehow, weirdly, it's a subway. I think of a subway, like I'm traveling in a subway. It's very interesting, but I always feel like I'm doing some sort of traveling when I hear that song.
So when about 7-8 years ago, we added on to our house and we added on the studio, and there's a year or two, probably for 3 or 4 years, where I spent a lot of late nights there. I was staying up way later than my wife and my kids, and I was just coming up with just parts, just riffs, and I was recording everything. I still have hundreds of little riffs, and then I'll listen to them back, and I have no idea how that one started, but just came to me. But one thing I love about the song, and I didn't come up with this, but Ruskin, our producer, did, and I don't even know if he knew what he was thinking, but the little bridge, it sounds like a carnival song in the middle of this like rocking song. It's like a little carnival thing, and it's like so cool. But man, I don't know, the lyrics I wrote about just getting out of a bad situation, from what I remember. So that's about it.
Now I'm far gone down the highway, playing rock and roll, saving lives.
The song was written in 10 minutes. That was crazy. I mean, it's just one of those things that just came right out of me. And the inspiration for it was really the band, us, Fried Goat, and spending time in Augusta, obviously. But it was just, it seems like when we're touring or when we're out playing this music, it's just one long goodbye. What we're doing is just rocking and rolling. So that's kind of where that came from.
Yeah, so when I heard this song, man, I was like, this is the perfect song. I was so, I don't know if surprised, but I was just pleasantly surprised when I heard the song. I was like, I can't believe Brian did it again on writing just a perfect song, because we'd already named the album Rock and Roll Saves Lives. And so when I heard this song, I was like, that's the perfect theme for our album, right?
The interesting thing about this song is Michael Garrett's piano playing in this song. We don't have really a keyboardist in the band, and this keyboard part, this kind of ragtime jazzy piano, just really tied this song together. Really took it to another level of where it wasn't before. So that on top of this cool lyrical content is just really cool.
Lyrically, it's great, and then the whole theme of rock and roll saves lives, how he brought that into the song after we had that name. That was the name of the album even before the last album was done. So, kudos to Brian for putting all of that together.
Goats are just, if you know about goats, they're just way smarter than just mindless beings like sheep. So that's where that came from. And it really was because I never could take off. Westy and I could never get anything done in the Carolinas. It didn't seem like it. But only when I started clicking with you guys in Augusta did things start to really take off as far as music. So I really believe that. So goats versus sheep. That's kind of where that came from. 1, 2, 3, 4.
A lot of things I figured out the hard way, but the guitar came as natural as can be. A couple major chords, two-tone pickup four, and the music inside spilled out on the streets. Made a decent living in Atlanta, till I ran into a woman and the world. Neither one came free, both took the best of me, so I thought I'd give this music thing a whirl. Now I'm far gone down the highway, playing rock and roll and saving lives, making one last stand, part of a southern band, working on one long goodbye. Now I'm far gone down the highway, playing rock and roll and saving lives, making one last stand, part of a southern band, working on one long goodbye. Lately I find the music is its own religion. All my friends are faithful as can be, and that's why every night I'm searching for that moment when you'll finally hear and just believe. Never could catch on in Carolina, but Augusta, Georgia took good care of me. They were just my kind, all had open minds, and I'd rather hang with goats than mess with sheep. Now I'm far gone down the highway, playing rock and roll and saving lives, making one last stand, part of a southern band, working on one long goodbye. Working on one long goodbye, working on one long goodbye.
I never knew your story told, where you've been and what you know. You walked away.
It's got to be one of the most unique songs on the album. I mean, that is just really different from everything else on the album. It's a slow burn and a big build all the way throughout.
I read a story in an article about a couple of years ago about a guy that was 18 in the Vietnam War, and he got injured badly. He was about to die, and they had people coming through, and some man who grabbed his hand and told him, just hang in there, don't die. It'd be easy to give up, but don't die. And the guy survived, and he lived a great life. And he always thought about this man who basically, told him to keep fighting, and but he didn't know who he was. And then 44 years later, just like 3 years ago, he somehow that story, that there was a connection between somebody the soldier knew and somebody who the man knew that talked to him. They knew each other, and they met 44 years older. And so that's what the story is about, how he can finally rest. Initially, he doesn't know if he's going to ever rest again, because he doesn't know if he's going to make it to 19. And then he can rest finally because he met the guy that kind of, saved his life. And then the music, again, it was when I was staying up late and just going and playing stuff and recording it every night, and still have a ton of that. And then when we were about to record this album, I would listen to stuff, and that was one that I always knew. I was like, man, that's a kind of a monotonous little riff, very simple.
But just being in the studio, I just really got into this song. I remember not being able to contain myself as I was singing this song, as it built and built and built, and I was just going nuts on, especially at the end part. I couldn't, I was worried that all my movement was going to cause problems.
When Westy sings it, there's a lot of emotion that connects to the story in this song. So when it starts off with just that one guitar and his voice, I'm automatically drawn in. Even though those chords are a little strange, the melody line really helps that sound good to me.
Not to be too specific, I'm blowing my heart out all of the Pacific. She laughed because she...
Yeah, it's pretty simple. It's always about a girl. Most songs are about women in my case, but this one particularly hit home because I had a girl that left when I was in Atlanta to go and pursue an acting career in Hollywood. And so never really worked out, by the way, but in the meantime, I flew out to see her. And this was a song about when I flew out to see her, everything that we did. And while I was there, she basically broke the news that she was going to be a star, and she didn't think that we should be together anymore. So I basically let her go under the LA moon, and I flew back.
Especially for a first song record, the vocals have to be pretty strong, and the vocal take that Brian did on this one is pretty good. He really sells it, especially at the end. But basically just making bringing things up that need to make it drive.
I think that the guitar work really makes the production just insane. Let's not forget that this was an acoustically based song, and so now with the Fried Goat experience, essentially, that production just really beefs it up and just really takes that song to a whole new level.
The first thing is that when Brian Brittingham, I didn't bring anything to it before we recorded it, and Brian Brittingham and I recorded it, just the two of us, and man, he brought that opening, and as the minute I heard that, I was like, that's the first song. And then when it was like that's the first song, it's got to have just guitars all over the place, like opening, just guitar riffs and crazy solo, and so I tried to bring as much just guitar stuff to a really catchy pop song that Heimball wrote great, and then Brittingham he kind of set the table for, this is the opening song. It was the first album, or the second album, the last album, I didn't know what the opening song was be. I couldn't figure that out to the end. This one, the first time I heard Brittingham's take, I was like, that's the opening song. The chords, in Ruskin's mention, it sounds probably more quintessential Fried Goat than any other song on the album, and I can hear it because there's a couple songs on our first couple of albums, and it's just something about, I mean, I don't consider myself much of a singer-songwriter, but when I do, I like putting a capo on, and there's certain chords that I like, and it's like F, a C, a G, and an A minor with a capo, either on the 4th fret or the 2nd fret, and it can be in any different order, and that's that's what I did on that song, and that's similar to a couple other songs from our first two albums.
The interesting thing about this record is Fried Goat's charting new territory here, which is cool. But it's also nice to have a couple of familiar type tunes to kind of bring you back if you like the old Fried Goat stuff. And this song just reminds me of just the, like I said, the quintessential Fried Goat.
I think it's a positive song. I think a lot of stuff that we do, we're not dark at all. It's just great to see, like, make the change for good, things like that. That's just a really cool song. Even though you've got some undertones of relationships in there, you just keep the pace. It's just like keep your head, keep moving forward. That's what I like about the song, and it's snappy.
And it just reminds me of the roots of Fried Goat, and it's very much, I can see Deke Wiggins' style, in the writing of this song perfectly. And so it just reminded me of the old days, right? Of Deke and I, really the two of us, writing the songs and putting them together. And, it just takes me back to the good old days of Fried Goat, 10, 11 years ago.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Roadblock before you won't slow you down. Sinking floor below you keeps you off the ground. Fade away, all the way, till she's gone for good. Keep the pace every day, like we knew you would. Look who's in your corner, we won't let you down. Don't mention the former, we'll keep you off the ground. Fade away, all the way, till she's gone for good. Keep the pace every day, like we knew you would. Till she's gone for good. Keep the pace every day, like we knew you would. Fade away, all the way, make the change for good. Keep the pace every day, like we knew you would.
Struggling to keep you, I'll do anything, giving up now is too.
Going back, this is our third album, 40 some odd songs. I don't think that we've truly had a pure love song on any of our albums. And so when I first heard this song, I said, this is our first love song that we've written, right? And so, it just reminds me and makes me think of, somebody who's totally in love with, someone else. And, as the song is titled, they do anything for them. And so it's a totally new direction, a new style with the love song, that Fried Goat's putting out. So I think it's great. I think it's cool.
That one in particular, initially I recorded a very structured, melodic solo, and it's funny because I was like, yeah, that sounds great. And then I'm in the studio with Ruskin and Brian Hanball, and Brian's singing the lead vocal, and Ruskin's like, dude, you can do better than that. Brian's like, yeah, there's no emotion. And they were both like, go do something better. Just don't worry about a melody, just go do something.
When I'm producing or writing or whatever, I don't do very many waltz songs. So I like the challenge of finding that groove to sit in a waltzy song. This is a 3-4 time song. So it was kind of cool to work on this one and find out where that right groove fit, and it just fits so well.
Well, it on the acoustic guitar, it just was a great little rhythm. It's almost like a waltz, to when I started writing that song. And then anything was really simply, I would do anything to be with this particular person. And so that's where that came from. And not only that, but it's like you see a little bit of the side of a man who's just sort of just admitting he's got some faults, and he's just kind of like letting his guard down.
She's got the gusto. She goes, we go.
The inspiration came was right after Gumbo had died, and Gumbo Knows is the perfect title for this song, because when I first got this dog and throughout this dog's life, I felt like she and I could communicate. She knew what I was thinking, I knew what she was thinking. It was the weirdest thing, and I absolutely loved this dog to the bottom of my heart.
It's the most rockingest song ever about a dog. Started in Westy's garage and ended up here. That's just a fantastic voyage in and of itself. But what a different song as well for us. This whole album is very different from our others.
The thing about this song is it hits 10 right out of the gate and keeps going. And the hard part about this song as a producer, when you're producing a song like this, is keeping it interesting and trying to eliminate some of the things that could make it monotonous. And I think we succeeded in doing that. I love the little things we did in the verses with Westy's voice and the harmonies. I think that really helped make that.
And my favorite part of the song is when Westy yells out during my solo, goes woo. That's like, because David Lee Roth used to do that with Eddie today. That's the best.
I don't even remember saying the woo till after the fact. So it was really just a spontaneous emotional moment in the studio.
Step aside and hold the door. Mr. Joe stares at the floor.
We were actually recording, I don't know we're recording a few songs because Brian Hanball came in from Greenville. He was at Ruskin Studio. It was the three of us, and it was like 10, 11 o'clock, and he's like, I'm going to go get some chips and water. And it wasn't beer. I mean, we're like, we're like, we got to stay sober to get this done. But anyway, so I go to the Circle K, not even half a mile away. I get in there, and I'm the only sober person in there. I get in there, and everybody in there is drunk or high, and people are walking out with their beer without paying, and the cashier doesn't give a crap. It's insane. I mean, I'm in there, and there's a long line, and I'm in there to buy like a cup of waters and some chips, and just soaking all this in and thinking, man, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. And I came back and I told Ruskin and Brian initially, I was like, man, just let me tell you what I just saw. And I was like, I'm gonna write a song about this. So I gave every character in there, and there was a bunch, a name that I thought that they might look like.
It's pretty funny, pretty freaky. That it's a, basically a scene in a convenience store, train of thought, if you will. But what's most interesting about this song is that it's got that call and response to it that is very indicative of almost a Beatles type tune. So throw out there sort of a style in its own. I'm not saying that we're like the Beatles. I'm just saying it's kind of an homage a bit to some of that great songwriting.
The cool thing about this song is I saw right after when it really happened, because Deke walked into the studio, and we were in the studio, and he went to go get something from the Circle K, and he said, "You won't believe what happened." And so a week later or 2 weeks later, he says, "I wrote a song about what happened to me at the Circle K." And so I thought this was really cool, and the lyrics to this song are just brilliant. I like this song a lot. And it was good to hear Deke sing one.
Circus K may be my favorite song because Deke is singing that song. I've always, I wish Deke sang every song on Fried Goat. I think that our next album, I'm going to ask Deke to sing every single song on the album because this song is awesome. I do remember, though, Deke calling me up. And it was really late at night, and he called me up, and he said, "Man, you won't believe the experience. I've written this song about this experience of going to the Circle K." And he told me all about it. And he said, "You got to hear this song. It's awesome." And man, I love this song because it's inspiration. It reminds me of Broad Creek, which is one of the first songs that I wrote for Fried Goat on the first album, because I read an article about a goat jumping off a bridge, and within about 15 or 20 minutes, man, and the inspiration was there. I had a song, and I think Deke had the same type of experience with this song, and so I really appreciate this song. I love this song.
1, 2, 3, 4. Step aside and hold the door. Mr. Joe stares at the floor, holds his case with both his hands, walks outside to understand there is no plan. Lucy's talking to herself, talks to herself, wish she was somebody else, counting papers every day, never keep what she makes, so she take Mrs. Sonoma waits in line. She waits in line, losing patience all the time. All the time. Makes her case and heads outside, never signs the dotted line, and Lucy sighs. Everybody knows something that I don't know. That's okay, I'm just here for the show. Ronnie shakes so violently, must be new to the scene, seems to know Mr. Joe probably has nowhere to go. What a shame. Mr. Joe is back inside, he's back inside, picking flowers for his bride. Nothing to skips hide. Around, adjusts his crown, leans down without a sound. He's leaving town. know something that I don't know. But that's okay, I'm just here for the show. Everybody takes something that they don't own. That's okay, we're all here for the show. Oh, whoa.
Lay down and I'll make you cry. Only want to break your heart.
Grady Nickel is like locally, he's my idol, man. I've always wanted to be in a band with him, and he just, we like the same kind of music, and he's such a good singer. He's such a good guitar player. But anyway, his one of his albums, that was the first song on the album, and it's just so catchy, man. It's just so catchy. And but I thought that we could well, how Westy said, we could goat it up a bit. We could make it a little bit different. We could bring a little more, speed it up a bit, have it a little heavier, have some more guitar solos. So I knew we could do it a little bit different. I wanted to pay homage to him. I mean, he's a brilliant musician. His version, he stops in the very last chorus, and I was thinking we could not stop and we could just go keep on rocking, and Burning Hand killed that. I mean, he went double time on that last 4 bars, and I can't wait for Grady to hear it, 'cause I think he'll really like it.
What a nice compliment to Grady and his songwriting, you know. I mean, there's several songs from Augusta artists that I would cover, you know. So I like the fact that there's songs in Augusta that are worth covering. So that's kind of neat.
What? First of all, mad props to the song, the original version, and I think we did a great job on that as well. And the vocals really pulled that out. You know what this song seems like to me? It's just a big old long goodbye as well, basically in a relationship. But I just love the whine that me and Westy have come up with on the vocals there, on that part, and the dynamic breakdown there in the middle, which he just played.
Yeah, so I got to meet Grady. He came and actually played in Outhouse Studios. They practiced for a gig where we were playing together, you know, billing with those guys. And when I heard we were going to cover this song, you know, one of his songs, I was really happy. And so the only thing I could think of when I was singing this song was, you know, I was thinking, man, I really can't wait till Grady hears this song, and I want to make sure that, you know, when I sing this, that he feels really good about the way we covered it and the way I sang it. And so, you know, I was really, really working hard to make sure I sang this song to his satisfaction.
Hey, do you have a name? Something to say about today?
Yeah, when I heard the name of that song makes me laugh. I think of Mike Tyson and Ed Helms in the movie Hangover. I think that's freaking hilarious, because I can only think of somebody who got a face tattoo when they were too messed up to think of what they were doing and make a good decision. So they wake up the next morning and they're really sad about it. And so I thought that was really awesome. And so I really love that song. Just the title is perfect for that song.
I like the one of the things about this whole record, and especially in this song, is there's a lot of time work on this record. Just where Brian is doing some cool, just riding the times during verses and stuff. And I really like the way this felt at the during the verses of these songs. It just kind of gave it an eerie feeling, and I kind of like the way that sounded on this tune.
It wasn't the easiest song to record, even though I do know Westy's voice very well, but the phrasings are very important when you're doing a double vocal like that. But it's no stranger to us because we've done that on other albums. But that was interesting. But that's probably one of my favorite songs on the album, just because of the instrumentation that's involved.
A couple other songs I've written where it came really quick, and it was just based on I just dreamed this, I just wrote it down, and the music was something I recorded totally different, just at night. I used to record stuff all the time, so.
I think the chorus is really strong in this tune. Just a good, solid chorus. Has a lot of connection with a lot of people, because people making changes in their lives, they can really relate to this tune. I really liked the little, and we hadn't done this before, the little speaking part. I kind of like that. At first I was on the fence, but after we put it down there, I really dig it.
When we started talking about doing this album, we've all got songs that we've written recently or long ago, and there's no reason not to record a song even though it was written 10 years ago, whatever. So Heinball sent me a ton of his songs that he had written, some recent, some long ago, and I think that one's old. I think that one was 15, 20 years old, but it's just like, man, that's a good one. I think I played that with him, with Westy acoustically a long time ago, but I just liked it from the start.
Yeah, so Brian and I have been playing that song together for years and years, decades, really. He and I were in a band called The Barkers, and we played that song for when I heard we were going to put it on the new album. Man, I was really, really excited, because that's been one of my favorite Brian Heinball songs ever. And like I said, he can write some great songs. And so, that song, I think of Rocky Bottom, where my parents live, and where I got my dog Otis.
Well, for once, it's better produced now than it ever was, as far as an acoustic song, and it's so much better with the band, and especially the electric guitar, which I would have never considered on this song, but it makes it. It was originally written at a time where I was young and about to take off, in college, in my peak, about to start a career and that type of thing. So, it was about all of those things coming together, a crossroads, if you will. So gratifying now to hear it on the album now, and I've never had it ever on any other album. This is it.
1, 2, 3, 4. Set a course for the winds of fortune. Pack my suitcase, put on a new face. Gonna set my wheels in motion and never turn around. 'Cause darling, freedom's calling me, and from the start I couldn't seem to understand the master plan. And now I'm making my own, and in between you and I, there's a question about direction. Just blow a kiss and wave goodbye. This trip I take alone, and leave it ain't easy. time may teach me can never change the love I've known. No, no, no. Well, darling, you know I'll miss you. When times get rough and there's no one to hug, you can say I told you so. Let the record show I pulled my heart away. And later on, when the memory's gone, you'll fool yourself with someone else. Try to make believe that man is me until I come back home. Leaving ain't easy. Moving on can't be wrong. And all that time may teach me could never change the love I've known. No. Leaving ain't easy. Moving on can't be wrong. And all that time may teach me can never change the love I've known. No.
You're a friend to me, you'll always be. If my door is locked, well, you'll have the key. I'm here to mend your injuries, and when you're ready to go, I'll say.
The thing I remember about this song is I like the tune, but I remember singing the backups in this song, and I'm really particular about everybody hitting the right spots. And this one right killed me trying to do the harmonies, singing right along with Brian, and it was very difficult, but it turned out really good, and I think it really worked out great.
Yeah, so we've already played. This was one of the songs. This is actually the only song on the new album that we played before we recorded the album. You know, as a band, as Fried Goat. And man, you can't help but move when you're playing this song. I love this song, and it is poppy, but it's a Heimball standard. And I've heard this song forever and played this song with Brian in the past, but putting it together with Fried Goat just takes it up that one notch higher. So it's a really, really awesome song.
This reminds me definitely of the 90s for sure. It's very catchy. And again, this is one of the... Brian sent me a bunch of songs, and this is one that I gravitated towards. It's like, this is good, and I'm sure the versions that I heard of him, I think we've added a lot to it. But we haven't totally done it too hard rock. It's still very poppy. I think it just works. I think it's good, and the drums are great in it.
Well, I'm just around the corner till the light of day, yeah. I'm just around the corner till the light of day.
Yeah, so this is awesome, man. What Fried Goat does is we take normal songs and we goat them up, right? This, we've kind of done the opposite of that, right? Because Joan Jett rocked it out, and now we've taken it and we've kind of kept it mellow. We keep it very at the same level throughout the song, and so I really love the way we've done this. And I think people are going to love it too when they hear it. They're going to be like, wow, this is a really good take on that cover.
So I was not thinking about doing a cover, but I was thinking if there's the right, and then I started, well, if we do a cover, let's find a rockin' song and do it reverse and acoustically. But I couldn't figure out what, because I'm always thinking about what can we rock more, I'm not thinking about the reverse. And so we did the Grady Nickel cover, and I was fine with just not doing a cover. But I think I left your studio one night, and I was listening to XM Radio, and Light of Day came on, Joan Jett. And it was so out of the blue. I loved that song in the 80s. I mean, I loved it. But it wasn't a huge hit, so it didn't have lasting. It didn't last long. And just heard it on. I was like, man, that's what we need to do. We need to do it acoustically. But I couldn't figure out how to do it. And then eventually I just I came up with the guitar part. I probably wasn't even thinking about that song. I was just like, well, that's a cool little riff. And then I was like, wait a minute. If we do it like this, and then we go up, 5 frets, and then back, and then up 7 frets, then it's got the same progression. And so hopefully Joan Jett and Bruce Springsteen like it. I'm sure we'll never hear it, but anyway.
Well, it was pretty interesting because when we were in the studio, we really didn't have a lot of confidence in the song as far as how were we going to sing this thing. And I remember the two of you guys, you and Ruskin, in the booth, and all of a sudden I just sort of channeled it and entered Jim Morrison on L.A. Woman, and I started belting it out, and y'all were like, okay, that'll work. I mean, I just belted that thing out from the beginning, angry like Jim would, and then that's kind of where that came from.
A brand new cat, he left the scene.
It's a simple song, but it's it's got such a good flow, and it's fun to play.
Well, that was when we were in school together at Clemson, and we were staying in a trailer that was off campus, a red clay, this mud pit, essentially, as the lyrics would say in the song. And we had a carpetbagger for a landlord, Wally. He was awful, and it was just a unique experience. There were times where we could actually throw our trash on a train that went by. So that song is just about all of those things that we did literally when we were living together at Clemson.
The cool thing about this song is it's real simple, but the story behind it, and actually, I don't really know. You really can't, unless you know the story behind it. It just seems like a whole bunch of phrases that must be tied together somehow, but phonetically and sound-wise they just work. So even if you don't know the song or don't know the meaning behind it, when you hear these phrases, they're really cool. It's like when something sounds right, you kind of just leave it alone. And this is one of those songs that just felt that way. And it just had this cool little grooving vibe, just like that 4 Non Blonde song. What's going on. It feels like it's the same kind of vibe.
The guy had a cat. He was so excited about this cat. He told my buddy Andy Fort, called him Chavis, the whole way back. He had this cat. And he had it in a carrier in the car, and the cat was going nuts the whole way back. So we pull it. He pulls up the trailer with this guy Britt and his cat. And the minute he opens the door and lets the cat out, it's like, hey, everybody come meet my cat. The cat takes off, runs away, and we never see the cat again. So the cat was like, he was gone. We had some buddies of ours come. They were real hippies, and they had acquired an old mail truck, a white mail truck. They'd taken all the postal stickers off of it, so it's just a white mail truck. And these guys they had a bunch of watercolors apparently that they had stolen from the University of South Carolina, where they came from. And they used to paint every so often they would paint the whole mail truck with these watercolors. And then when it would rain, of course, they would wash away, and so they get to paint it all over again. We thought that was cool. But anyway, this song was about that period. I lived there for a little over a year, and in this trailer in the middle of nowhere, and it was just a really great formative experience. From we played so much music and had a really good time living at the trailer.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Backyard train, I throw my trash bags on a naked trumpet, break up dawn, meatless Monday, pork and beans, a brand new cat, he left the scene. Rotten structures can't hold the fun of everything we've already done. Rotten structures, heavy as a ton, but you can't take with you some of none. Watercolor mail truck, a stolen base, Yankee landlord, get out of my face. A red clay mud pit was our backyard, a locomotive jam, life on Mars. Rotten structures can't hold the fun of everything we've already done. Rotten structures, heavy as a ton, but you can't take with you some of none. Structures can't hold the fun of everything we've already done. Rotten structures, heavy as a ton, but you can't take with you some of none.
Of all the songs I recorded, this is one I actually recorded on my phone and forgot about it for like a year. And as when we recorded the next song, or the in sequence on the album, Henry's Glory, I'd listened to this on my phone. I was like, this is a little cool introduction. So it's just a acoustic deal, but I think it's a good introduction or whatever, first part of Henry's Glory.
It was awesome just to load it onto the computer and
Well, it is true. It's the third part of the trilogy, and it's a growth of the actual thought process that goes into those 3 songs. The music started out simple enough on the original album, bluegrassy, if you will, and it's so fun to see it now and hear it now, all produced as such. And the ending of the song it's so much different than the beginning of the song in this trilogy, which is great. We've really come around on this particular piece of music. It's really like 3 songs in one.
I really dig the tribal feel at the beginning of this song, just with the toms going, and then that electric guitar comes in there. It feels like it's that drop D type tuning. Just lays down a serious thick groove that just makes you go.
When I listen to that song, it's like, when is this song going to get into gear? And it never really does. And that's kind of the charm of the song. It's just kind of like, it never really rocks, but it kind of does at the end, but with the tom, so it's never like cymbal rocking. But again, Brittingham killed it. And it's the end of the saga, the 3-song saga, whatever, trilogy.
So the Henry trilogy I would compare to some of the greatest trilogies that have ever been created. You've got the Star Wars trilogies, you've got the Godfather trilogies, World War trilogies, 1, 2, and the Iraq War. Man, this shit rocks harder than any of those trilogies ever. And so, I think, we've got 3 albums, we've got a trilogy. Now what we need to do is, go back and do some backstory, right, to the Henry stuff. We got to tell his baby years and then go out to, other stuff and get some side stories, because I think it warrants that. It's such a great trilogy.
One, two, three, go.
been 10 years and 1,000 tears. Look at the mess I'm in. A broken nose and a broken heart, an empty bottle of gin. Well, I sit and I pray in my broken down Chevrolet while I'm singing to myself. Well, there's got to be another way. So take away, take away, take away this ball and chain. Well, I'm sick and I'm tired and I can't take any more pain. Take away, take away, never to return again. Take away, take away, take away. Take away this ball and chain. Well, I searched and I searched to try to find the perfect life. A brand new car and a brand new suit. I even got me a little wife. But wherever I have gone, I was sure to find myself there. You can run all your life and not go anywhere. So take away, take away, take away this ball and chain. Well, I'm lonely and I'm tired and I can't take any more pain. So take away, take away, never to return again. So take away, take away, take away, take away this ball and chain. Well, I passed the bar on the way to my dingy hotel room. I spent all my money. I've been drinking since noon. Well, I'll wait there in the morning, or maybe in the county jail. Times are hard, getting harder. I'm born to lose, I'm destined to fail. So take away, take away, take away this ball and chain. Well, I'm sick and I'm tired and I can't take any more pain. So take away, never to return again. So take away, take away, take away, take away this ball and chain.